The chamber was vast, glowing with silver light, and filled with voices that were not human. Creatures of many shapes sat in circles around a single platform. On that platform stood a human, confused, nervous, and very much alone. He was far from Earth, far from his people, and now he faced something he did not understand. The council leader, a tall alien with skin that shimmered like glass, raised a long hand and spoke, "Human, by the order of Galactic Law, you cannot choose only one. You must marry all sisters of the house you have touched." The words echoed through the hall, heavy and final. The human's heart pounded. He had thought he was only meeting one sister, one who had shown him kindness on a distant colony. He had thought maybe love was possible in this strange galaxy, but now, standing here, he realized it was not love the council cared about. It was law, it was control around the chamber. The sisters stepped forward. There were many of them, each different, yet bound by family and tradition. One had eyes that burned with fire, another had a smile that was soft and kind. One looked at him with suspicion, and another laughed as if the entire scene was a game. They were strangers to him. Yet the council demanded that he take them all. The human tried to speak, his voice shook. "This cannot be right. I do not belong to your laws, I am human. On Earth we choose love. We choose freely." But his words only made the council laugh. An alien with wings spread wide answered, "In your world maybe, but here the galaxy chooses for you. Here tradition is stronger than desire, and if you refuse, the punishment is death." Gasps filled the room. The human froze. Death. For refusing marriage, the idea was absurd. But these aliens were not joking. Their laws were ancient, carved into stone before humans had even touched the stars. The sisters circled him slowly, each one looking at him in a different way. One with curiosity, one with hunger, one with pity, and one with cold calculation. They spoke in voices that mixed beauty with danger. "Do not fear, human, you will learn," said the kind sister. "We are not so terrible," whispered another. But behind their words there was something he could not trust, something hidden. The human thought of Earth again. The blue sky, the sound of waves, the laughter of friends, all of it so far away now. He wondered if he would ever see home again, or if his future was sealed in this chamber, married by force to strangers, bound by alien law. The council banged a staff against the ground. The sound shook the chamber like thunder. "You will answer now," the leader said. "Accept your place, or accept your punishment." The human felt the eyes of every creature in the hall upon him, waiting, judging, hungry for his answer. His mouth was dry, his legs felt weak, he wanted to shout, to run, but he knew he could not. He had seen the guards, tall armored beasts with glowing blades. There was no escape, no fight, only a choice that was not a choice. He stayed silent, and in that silence, the sisters smiled. Their smiles were not the same. One was warm, another was cruel, one was playful, another unreadable. It was like standing before a storm with many winds, and he did not know which way he would be blown. The leader spoke again, slower now, as if tasting every word. "By galactic law, you must take them all. Not one, not two, but all sisters. This is the bond, this is the law. And the law cannot be broken." The human's chest tightened, his heart screamed no. But his mind whispered, "Survive, survive at any cost." Yet even as he thought of survival, he wondered what the cost would be. Could he survive this law? Could he survive these sisters? Could he survive a future chosen for him by aliens who did not care for love? The chamber grew quiet. The council waited, the sisters waited, and in that silence the human realized something. This was not only about marriage. This was about power. This was about chains. The law was not only strange, it was dangerous. He looked at the sisters again, their eyes watching him, their smiles hiding secrets, and for the first time he wondered, were they prisoners too, or were they part of the trap? The staff struck the ground again, the leader shouted, "Choose now, human." And the chamber shook. The air felt heavy, his breath caught, and the whole galaxy seemed to lean closer, waiting for his answer, and in that moment he knew. Whatever he said next would decide his fate, his freedom, his very life. The sisters stepped closer, their voices blending together, soft and sharp, kind and cruel. "Do not fear, human," they said. "You belong to us now." And the chamber went silent, silent as the stars beyond. The human stood frozen on the platform, the words of the council still echoing in his mind. He could not choose one, he could not walk away. The alien law was clear. Marry all sisters or face death. It was not a choice, it was a command. He tried to breathe, but the air in the chamber felt heavy. Thick like stone pressing down on his chest, his thoughts spun. How could this be real? How could the future of his life be decided by strangers? By a law that made no sense? By voices that cared nothing for his freedom? The council waited, silent but firm. The sisters stood nearby, their eyes never leaving him. Each one seemed to expect something different. One sister's eyes softened, almost like pity. Another's eyes burned like fire. Daring him to resist, another simply smiled, calm and mysterious, and one looked away, bored as if the human's fear meant nothing at all. He remembered Earth, the smell of rain after a storm, the laughter of his friends, the sound of music on the streets. On Earth, marriage was love. Marriage was choice, not this, not law, not a prison built by tradition. But here he was not on Earth. Here he was just a human among aliens, powerless before the council, powerless before the law. He clenched his fists, his voice low. Why me? Why a human? His words were not strong. They were whispers, almost swallowed by the silence. The leader of the council leaned forward, his voice sharp. Because fate chose you. You entered their house, you touched their bond, you stepped into their circle, and once you step in, the law cannot be broken. The human's stomach twisted. He had not known. He had not understood that one act of kindness, one small step into their world, would chain him here forever. The kind sister took a step closer, her voice soft. Do not fight, human. It will only bring you pain. We will not harm you. We will not let them kill you, but you must accept what is given. Her words were gentle, but he felt no comfort. Another sister laughed, her voice sharp as a blade. He thinks he has a choice. How sweet, how foolish. He should learn quickly, for his own good. The laughter echoed in the chamber, cruel and cold. The human's mind screamed at him to run, to fight, to do something. But the guards stood tall, their weapons glowing with energy that could cut him in a second. There was no escape. The council struck the staff again, the sound like thunder. Human, delay is weakness. The law does not wait. Speak now, accept your fate, or we end this. The words filled the chamber, final. He closed his eyes, his heart pounding, and for a moment he felt like a child again. Small, powerless, afraid, but then something inside him whispered, survive, survive no matter what. Do not give them your death, give them your silence, and live long enough to find another way. When he opened his eyes, the sisters were still watching him. Their faces unreadable masks, but in their eyes he saw something strange. Not just power, not just law, but secrets, as if they too were trapped, as if this law was not freedom for them either. He wondered, were they prisoners like him, or were they players in a game much larger? He could not tell, and that uncertainty gnawed at him. The kind sister leaned closer, whispering so only he could hear. Not everything is what it seems. Human. Not all laws are forever. Sometimes the law can be broken, but only if you are strong enough to see the truth. Her words sent a chill through him. Was it comfort or was it a trap? He could not know. The council roared. Enough whispers, enough delay, human. We give you one more chance, bow to the law. Or bow to death. The human's legs trembled. He dropped to one knee, not in obedience, not in love, but in survival. His voice barely a whisper. I accept. The chamber filled with sound. Some voices cheered, some hissed. The council struck the staff again. The judgment was sealed. The human was bound to the sisters by galactic law. The sisters stepped forward together, their hands reaching out, their voices blending in unison. Then it begins, they said, and their touch was soft but heavy. Like chains made of silk, the human kept his eyes down, but inside his mind burned. This was not the end. This was the beginning. He would not be their puppet forever. He would not let alien law decide his soul. He would survive, he would endure, and he would find a way. But as the sisters smiled and the council declared the bond unbreakable, the human could not escape one truth. The game had already begun, and he was a piece on the board, a piece that did not yet know the rules. The chamber emptied slowly, the alien council leaving in silence, their glowing robes fading into the shadows. The human was led down a long corridor, guarded on both sides by towering soldiers with silver armor, their weapons humming with quiet menace. His heart still pounded. His choice was made, but it was not truly a choice. Now his fate was tied to the sisters, all of them. The corridor opened into a wide chamber lit by soft blue light. Here the sisters waited, no longer hidden in the crowd, no longer silent faces in the council's shadow. Here they stood in full view, and for the first time the humans saw them clearly. The first sister stepped forward, her voice calm, her eyes kind. She wore silver robes that glowed faintly in the light. "Do not fear, human," she said. "My name is Sarana. I will not harm you." Her tone was warm, almost comforting, and the human felt a flicker of hope. But before he could answer, another sister laughed, her voice sharp and mocking. "He already looks like prey, Sarana. Do not pretend he is anything else." She stepped close, her long black hair falling across her face, her smile cruel. Her name was Calith, and her presence was like a blade pressed against his skin. The human stepped back, but another sister blocked his path. She was tall, quiet, her eyes dark like endless night. She did not smile, she only stared, and her silence was heavier than words. Her name whispered from the other's lips was Lyra, and something about her stillness chilled him more than Calith's cruelty. Then another approached. Her movements graceful, her laughter soft, but not cruel, almost playful. She tilted her head as she studied him. "He is different, yes, but not useless," she said. "Perhaps interesting." Her name was Elira, and her eyes gleamed with mischief, as if she carried secrets no one else could see. The human's head spun, 4 sisters already, each so different, each impossible to read, but the circle was not yet complete. 2 more stepped forward together. Twins, their faces almost the same, but their eyes told different stories. One smiled gently, the other frowned as if everything displeased her. Their names were Selin and Vera. 7 sisters in total stood before him now. 7 strangers bound to him by law, their eyes heavy on his face, their presence overwhelming. Sarana, the kind one, spoke again. "You must understand. Human. The law is ancient, older than stars. It binds us as much as it binds you. Do not think you are alone in this." Her words sounded honest, but he could not tell if honesty was possible in a place where law was stronger than love. Calith laughed again, circling him like a predator. "He will not last, he is weak, he will break before long, and when he does, perhaps the council will see their mistake." Her words were poison, but her eyes glowed with challenge as if daring him to prove her wrong. Elira leaned close, her voice a whisper. "Do not listen to Calith, she bites too quickly, but you may be more fun than you think." Her words brushed his ear like silk, but behind them was something dangerous, something hidden. Lyra said nothing, only watching. Her silence was louder than words, her gaze pierced him, and he felt like she could see his thoughts, his fears, his every weakness. He turned away, but her eyes followed him still. The twins spoke together, their voices blending. Strange and unsettling. "You are bound. Human as we are bound, your path is ours and our path is yours. Do not resist, for resistance only brings pain." Their voices were like a chant, echoing in his mind. The human clenched his fists, his voice shaking. "I did not choose this. I did not want this." His words came out raw, desperate, but Sarana answered gently. "Choice does not matter here. Law does, survival does, and if you wish to live, you must learn." The human felt the walls closing in. 7 sisters, each with different faces, different hearts, different secrets, yet all tied to him, all waiting for him to accept a role he never wanted. But even as fear filled him, another thought sparked in his mind. Maybe this was not only a prison, maybe this was a puzzle. Maybe if he could understand them, if he could see the truth behind their words and faces, he could find a path, a way to survive, maybe even a way to break the chains of the law. Calith leaned closer, her smile sharp. "Be careful, human, for in this game you are not the hunter. You are the hunted." Her voice dripped with promise and threat. Elira laughed softly. "Or perhaps he will surprise us all." And Lyra's silence pressed deeper. Like a shadow that never left, the human's heart raced. His mind burned with questions. Who were these sisters truly? Allies, enemies, prisoners, or rulers? What secrets did they hold? What did the council not say? One thing he knew, this was only the beginning. And in the game of sisters and law, survival would not be easy. The chamber darkened as the doors closed behind them, locking him inside with 7 pairs of eyes, 7 smiles, 7 secrets, and in that darkness, the human understood one thing. He was not safe, not here, not now, not ever. The human was led into a new chamber, smaller than the council hall, but still vast. The walls glowed faintly with lines of golden script, alien letters carved into stone. They pulsed like veins of light, alive and watching. The sisters entered with him, their steps soft but heavy with meaning. Here the truth of the law was written, the law that had chained him, the law that had stolen his choice. Sarana stood closest to him, her calm voice filling the silence. "This is the Hall of Bonds, human. Every word on these walls is law, carved before your world even learned fire. These words decide life, marriage, war, And death, she reached out her hand, her fingers brushing the glowing script. They are older than memory, older than reason. The human stared at the walls. The letters twisted and changed before his eyes, forming shapes his mind could almost understand. He saw pictures of unions, not of two, but of many. One figure surrounded by sisters, bound by glowing chains. His stomach turned. It was the same image as his fate. Caliph laughed from behind him. Do you see now, pray you are not the first, and you will not be the last. The law demands balance, and one cannot take one sister without taking all. It is tradition. It is power. She circled him, her voice like fire. Refuse it, and the galaxy itself will break you. But Elira tilted her head, her voice playful. Or maybe, Caliph, the law's not so perfect. Maybe it hides cracks. Maybe this human is meant to see them. Her eyes sparkled with mischief, and the human wondered if she mocked or warned him. Lyra stood silent, but her gaze never left him. Her silence pressed into his chest like weight. He almost asked her to speak, but something told him her silence was louder than words. The twins, Celan and Vera, spoke together, their voices echoing like one. The law is control, human. The law keeps peace between houses. Without it, war will come. You are not a husband, you are a bridge. Your life is not your own, it is theirs. The human's breath caught. A bridge, a pawn, a tool. Was that all he was to them? To this galaxy? Serana touched his arm gently. It is not always cruelty, human. Sometimes the law protects more than it destroys. Sometimes the law prevents bloodshed. Her words were soft, but her eyes betrayed something else, a shadow of sadness, as if she too had lost something to the same law. The human clenched his fists. On Earth, law is meant to serve people. Not trap them, not decide who you marry, not chain your soul. His voice cracked, anger mixing with despair. This is not law. This is prison. Caliph's laughter filled the chamber, cruel and sharp. Then escape, human, break your chains. If you can. Her challenge burned in him, but before he could answer, the walls pulsed brighter, and a deep voice, not of the sisters, not of the council, but of the chamber itself, spoke. The bond is sealed, the law is eternal, the union cannot be undone. The voice shook the floor, the golden script flared like fire. The human stumbled back, his heart racing. The chamber itself was alive with the law. Elira's voice slid into the silence, soft and teasing. Eternal, yes, but nothing is eternal forever. Even stars die, even laws break, she smiled, and her words lingered in the air like smoke. For the first time, the human felt a spark, small but real. Maybe Elira was right. Maybe there was a weakness. Maybe the law was not as unbreakable as they claimed. But if there was a weakness, it would not be found easily. It would be hidden deep, and the sisters themselves might guard it. Lyra finally spoke, her voice low, steady and haunting. Be careful, human. The law does not fear you, but those who try to twist it, those who try to break it, vanish, gone without trace. You are already walking a dangerous path. Her words cut deeper than any threat. The human's mind spun. He was trapped by a law older than his species, surrounded by sisters who were strangers, some kind, some cruel, some silent, but all bound to him. He could not escape. Not yet, but maybe, just maybe, he could learn, understand, and one day break free. Serana placed a hand on his shoulder. For now, live, learn, and survive. That is enough, her voice tried to comfort, but the weight in her eyes told him she knew survival was never enough. The golden letters dimmed slowly. The chamber grew quiet, but the human could still hear the words echoing in his mind. Eternal, 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 and he wondered, if the law was eternal, what would it cost him to defy it? The sisters turned away, leading him out of the Hall of Bonds. But as he followed, he realized something. The law was not only their cage, it was also their weapon, and he was caught between both. The corridor stretched ahead, dark and endless, and the human understood one truth. The law was not about marriage, it was about power, and power always came with secrets. The human followed the sisters through the endless corridors of the alien palace, his footsteps echoing on the stone floor, his mind heavy with the words he had heard in the Hall of Bonds. The law was eternal, the law was power. But somewhere deep inside, he refused to believe that nothing could be broken. The sisters walked in silence, but tension filled the air. Their movements sharp, their eyes watchful, as if each carried secrets too heavy to share. At last they entered a vast chamber, round and open, with windows that showed the stars beyond, countless worlds glittering in the black void. The sight should have filled him with wonder, But instead it only reminded him how small he was, how trapped, how far from Earth. Suddenly, the silence shattered, the great doors burst open, and a group of armored aliens stormed inside. Their banners dark red, their voices harsh. Their leader stepped forward. His face sharp and cruel, his voice thundered. The Council has made a mistake. This human does not deserve the sisters of House Vera. He is weak, he is unworthy. The human's chest tightened. His first thought was fear, but then anger burned. Once again his life was being judged by strangers. Kaleth hissed, stepping in front of him, her sharp eyes burning with fire. You dare challenge the Council's decree, she spat. The law is sealed, the bond is made. You have no claim, the rival leader sneered. The law binds him. Yes, but laws can be bent. Laws can be broken, if blood proves them false. His hand gripped the hilt of his blade, glowing with alien energy. The human felt the sisters tighten around him, like shields and like chains at the same time. Serana raised her voice, calm but firm. We will not let you touch him. The bond is ours. No rival will steal it. But the human noticed something strange. One sister stood back, her eyes shifting, her expression unreadable. It was Vera, one of the twins. Her hands clenched but not in defense, more like hesitation, as if a storm brewed inside her. The rival soldiers raised their weapons. The sisters prepared to fight. The human's heart raced. He was no warrior, no soldier. He had nothing but his will to live. But still he stood close, ready to face whatever storm came. The clash was sudden, steel against light. Energy against flesh. Kaleth moved like fire. Her blade cutting fast and furious. Elira danced with grace, her laughter sharp as she dodged and struck. Serana defended with calm strength. Lyra was silent but deadly, her strikes precise as shadow. The twins fought as one, weaving together like a single blade. The human stumbled back, watching in shock. The sisters were warriors, not brides. They fought like storms, their power shaking the chamber. But then betrayal struck Vera. The twin who had hesitated turned, her weapon flashing not at the enemy, but at her own bond, the human. Her blade aimed for his chest. Time slowed. The human's breath froze. The strike was certain, death coming closer. But Seelan, her twin, moved faster, her blade clashing against Vera's. Sparks flying, the chamber filled with gasps. The sisters froze for a moment, stunned. You betray us, Seelan cried, her voice breaking. You betray the law. You betray the bond. Vera's eyes burned, her voice shaking with rage. The law is a curse, the bond is a lie. I will not be chained to this human. I will not bow to tradition. Her words cut sharper than any blade. The human's heart pounded. He had expected enemies outside, but not betrayal within. Kaleth roared, her fury like fire. Then you are no sister of mine, she charged at Vera. Blades clashing, sparks burning. The chamber descended into chaos. Sisters fighting enemies, sister fighting sister. The human trapped in the storm, powerless but caught at the center. The rival leader laughed, his voice mocking. See, even they break, even they betray. The bond is nothing. He pointed his blade at the human. And when the bond dies, the law dies with it. The human's legs trembled. His breath shallow, he was the target, the key. The reason for the battle. Serana rushed to his side, pulling him back. Stay alive, human, no matter what happens. Stay alive. Her voice was desperate, breaking her calm for the first time. Elira's laughter turned sharp, her eyes flashing. Oh, what a game this is. Betrayal, war, secrets. Maybe this human truly is more fun than I thought. She struck down an enemy. Her grin wide, Lyra's silence pressed harder, her eyes meeting the human's, and in them he saw not cruelty, not rage, but warning, as if she already knew this was only the beginning. The clash continued, the chamber shook with every strike, and the human realized one truth that chilled him to the bone. It was not only enemies outside who threatened him, it was betrayal inside, and if one sister could betray, how many more carried secrets waiting to strike? The battle ended in fire and smoke, the rival leader retreating with his soldiers, his voice echoing, This is not over, human. Your bond is fragile, and fragile things break. The sisters stood among the ruins, their faces hard, their breaths heavy, Seelan's eyes filled with tears, Vera's glare filled with hatred. The human stood in the center, his body trembling, his soul burning with questions. He was bound by law, but now he understood something worse. He was also bound by betrayal. And betrayal could cut deeper than any blade. The smoke from the battle still hung in the chamber. Broken stones scattered across the floor. Sparks from shattered weapons glowed faintly in the dark. The sisters stood in silence, their breaths heavy, their faces hard. But the air between them was not victory. It was suspicion, anger, and something deeper. The human stood at the center, his chest rising and falling, his heart still racing from what he had seen. He had survived enemies, he had survived betrayal, but now he stood in a new storm, a storm of choices that were not choices at all. The council arrived soon after, their glowing robes sweeping across the ruined floor. Their leader's eyes burned with cold fire. "The law has been tested," he said, his voice echoing like thunder. "But the law does not bend. The human must choose his path now or face the end." The human's throat tightened. He knew their words were lies. There was no true path, only traps, only roads that all led to chains. Still, the council demanded an answer. Calith spat, her voice sharp. "He has no path. He is weak. He is prey. He should be cast aside." Her glare burned into him. Daring him to fight back, Serana stepped forward quickly, her voice calm but desperate. "No, the bond is sealed. He must be protected. He is part of us now, whether we wish it or not." Elira leaned close to him, her eyes gleaming with mischief. "Careful, human. Every word you say now is a blade. It will cut you or cut them, and either way, blood will fall." Her smile was playful, but her words chilled him. The twins stood together, Seelan's face pale with sadness, Vera's still full of rage, the wound of betrayal not healed. Their voices blended. "The bond is broken already. The sisters are divided, the law is fragile." Lyra, silent as always, finally spoke, her voice low, steady, heavy as stone. "The law will demand his choice, but his choice is no choice at all. For every road ends in chains." The council leader raised his staff. The golden light flared. "Human, hear the law. You may take the bond fully. Accept all sisters as one or refuse and accept death. Speak, for the galaxy waits." The chamber grew still. Every eye on him, his mind burned. His chest ached, he thought of Earth again. Of blue skies, of freedom, of laughter, of love chosen and not forced, and he knew none of that lived here. He swallowed hard, his voice shaking. "If I accept, I live, but not free. If I refuse, I die. And even death will not free me, because my name will vanish. My people will be shamed." His words broke the silence, and the chamber stirred. The leader smiled coldly. "Then you understand. Human, you have no choice, only the law." But deep inside, a spark still burned, faint but real. He whispered to himself, "I will not be their slave. I will survive and I will break them." But not today. Serana placed her hand on his shoulder, her eyes kind but full of sorrow. "Do what you must to live, human. Even if it is not what you want," Calith laughed cruelly. "He will bow like all before him. Law bends no one. Especially not prey." Illyra's eyes narrowed, her smile still playing on her lips. "Or maybe he will surprise us. Maybe he will turn law against itself. Wouldn't that be fun?" The council leader banged the staff once more. "Speak, human, now." The human's legs trembled. His throat dry, he dropped slowly to his knees. The hall silent. "I accept." The word tasted like poison, but it kept him alive. The council roared, voices rising. "The bond is sealed. The union eternal." The golden script on the walls flared bright, chains of light wrapped around his arms, his chest, his mind, soft but unbreakable. The sisters stepped closer, their voices blending, some kind, some cruel, some silent. "You are ours now, human," they whispered. "You cannot leave." The human lowered his head. But inside his mind burned. He had spoken the words, but he had not given his soul, not yet, he thought. Survive now, fight later. But then something unexpected happened. The chains of light pressed deeper, not just binding his body, but his thoughts, his memories, his very will, he gasped, pain burning in his skull. The council's law was not only law, it was control. Serana shouted, "Enough! You will kill him." Her voice desperate, but the council ignored her. Lyra stepped forward, her dark eyes sharp. "If you break him now, the bond collapses, and your law falls with it." Her words cut like steel. The council paused, the chains loosened. The human fell forward, gasping for breath, sweat dripping from his brow. He looked up, his voice ragged. "You may chain me, but you will not own me." The chamber filled with silence. The sisters stared, the council frowned, and for a moment, even the golden walls seemed uncertain. The leader's smile returned cold and thin. "We will see, human. We will see." The sisters guided him away, their faces unreadable. But the human's mind burned with new fire. He had accepted, yes, but acceptance was not surrender. He had chosen survival, not defeat. And deep in his heart he knew this law could be broken. If only he lived long enough to find the cracks. But the question lingered. Who among the sisters would help him? And who would betray him next? For in the end, his choice was no choice at all, and the real game was only beginning. The human sat in silence, the glow of the chain still faint on his arms. The council had declared the bond sealed. The sisters stood beside him, 7 shadows bound to his fate. But his heart did not bow, his spirit did not break. Inside him burned a quiet fire. The palace was restless after the battle. Whispers filled the halls. Some aliens said the human was a fool. Others said he was dangerous. Others still believed he was cursed. No matter what they believed, all eyes turned toward him, the human who had bowed to the law but whose gaze held defiance. The sisters led him to their private chamber. Away from the council's eyes, the door closed. The silence heavy. Serana spoke first, her calm voice trembling now. You must understand, human, your words today saved your life. But they did not save your soul. You are alive. But you are not free. He met her gaze. His own voice, low, steady. I know, but survival is the first step. Freedom comes after. Kaleth scoffed, her laughter sharp. Freedom, you dream too much, human. The law does not break, it crushes. It bends you until you forget you ever resisted. She leaned close, her eyes burning. And when that day comes, I will remind you you were prey from the beginning. Elira tilted her head, smiling, her eyes full of mischief. Or maybe not. Maybe he will twist the law itself. Maybe he will use it as a weapon. Oh, what fun that would be. She laughed softly, the sound like a secret only she knew. Lyra spoke next, her voice low, dark as night. Do not mistake survival for victory. Human, you are still a piece on the board. The council plays a game older than memory, and pieces that resist are often removed. Her warning sank deep, her silence afterward even deeper. The twins stood apart, their bond strained. Seelan's eyes full of sorrow. Vera's still sharp with rage, Seelan whispered. I will protect you if I can. But Vera's voice cut like a blade. I will destroy you if I must. The human's chest tightened. He was caught between kindness and cruelty, between loyalty and betrayal, but he did not let fear speak. Instead, he said, Then watch me, all of you. I will live, I will endure. And I will find the truth hidden in this law. The sisters exchanged glances, some doubtful, some amused, some unreadable. That night he was left alone, his mind restless, his body tired. But sleep did not come. He thought of Earth again. The blue sky, the sound of waves, the freedom of choice. He thought of how far he was from it, how far he might never return. Yet inside him burned something stronger. Not just longing, but resolve. Days passed, and the human learned more of the law. He listened to whispers in the halls, stories carved in the walls, secrets hidden in the sisters' words. He began to see patterns, cracks in the chains that bound him. He saw that the law was not about love. It was about balance, about keeping power divided. No one sister allowed to stand alone. No one bond allowed to be too strong. It was not union, it was control. And he realized something else. The council feared humanity. Feared what one human could do if given choice. If given freedom, that was why the law was used against him. Not just to trap him, but to test him. Maybe even to break him. But the council had made a mistake. They thought law would silence him. Instead, it gave him reason to fight. One evening, Serana found him staring at the stars through the high windows. Her voice soft. Do you regret surviving? She asked. He shook his head slowly. No, because survival is not surrender. As long as I breathe, I can fight, maybe not with weapons. Maybe not today, but one day, yes. One day. Her eyes softened, and for a moment, she almost smiled. Behind them, Kaleth scoffed. Dreams, always dreams, but her voice carried less fire than before. Almost doubt, Elira laughed quietly. Yes, dreams. But sometimes dreams break empires. Lyra stood in shadow, silent, but her gaze lingered on him longer than ever before. Seelan's face was pale, Vera's still hard, the twins torn. But even they seemed to watch him now with new eyes. The human turned from the stars, his voice steady. This is not the end. This is the beginning. The law may bind me, but I will not bow forever one day. I will turn their chains into weapons one day. I will stand free. The sisters said nothing, but the silence was heavy, as if they too felt the storm building. Far away in the council hall, whispers grew louder. Some feared the human, some laughed at him, some plotted already to end him. But the human did not care. His heart was steady, his fire alive. He had survived the choice that was no choice. He had accepted chains but not defeat. And as he stood among the sisters, bound yet unbroken, he knew one truth that would guide him into the future. The council believed the law eternal. But even eternal things can fall, and when they fall, humanity will rise.